I'm in love with the music, dude. I absolutely love it.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Definitely, man. You guys have been blowing up this year all over the place, man. Octane is showing you guys so much love. Active Rock Radio, iHeartRadio. I mean, the debut record Levels, it's out in September, but what is it like getting ready to release a debut record when there's all of this excitement already building so much in advance?
It's honestly, it's the most exciting thing I've ever done in my entire life. Um, it's a really, really big achievement. It's a big step. It's also I'm just beyond stoked for it. Like I'm beyond excited to release, 13 original songs on just one package.
Yeah.
I can't stress enough. Like it's gonna be fucking awesome, and
Yeah.
the record itself is fucking awesome.
I love the album art. It's so awesome. It's old school video games, Donkey Kong, Mario. I absolutely love it, man. How much did you guys have a role and a say in that album art?
Everything. From the core idea, I honestly don't remember whose idea it actually was, like which one of us in the band. But I know that we were all involved in we're like, okay, the album's called Levels. We
Hmm.
want something like, what about a TV with like a video game going on in the background? Okay, Donkey Kong. Donkey Kong's tight. Donkey Kong has multiple levels to it. It gets real hard.
Yep.
Let's let's do that. And then we had somebody work on it, and they got our ideas and stuff like that. And then something happened with them, and they just went AFK for some reason. And
Of
so we
course.
made them send us the Photoshop file, and we ended up finishing the album artwork ourselves.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah,
That's awesome.
as
Um,
resourceful as we can be.
you guys just released another single, Not Dead Yet, which it might be my favorite one of all of the singles you guys have released so far. I
Yeah.
love the fact that really mental health is such a strong theme across the board in so many songs. I would assume it is in the songs that we haven't heard yet. But just that song, that video in particular, let's talk Not Dead Yet first. I mean, how important is it for the theme of mental health in your music and your lyrics, especially in the world we live in today?
It's probably the most important part of the lyrics, in my opinion, because for me personally, it's something real to me.
Mhm.
It's very real to me, and so when I write these lyrics, when I sing these lyrics, when I just talk about it, it's a real thing that I struggle with myself.
Yeah.
Some days I wake up and I genuinely just don't want to leave bed. I want to go right back to sleep. Some days I wake up and I'm ready to take on the world. Like today was one of those good days.
Right.
but
Yeah. Same
but
here.
but not every day is one of those good days.
Hmm.
And so it's a really, really important thing, and it's a really important factor. And writing about it is therapy for me, you know. And it also helps me express myself to my bandmates, and the our fans that go through the same struggles that I go through.
Yeah.
It's a big thing that they're not alone. It's not all in your head. It's also in my head. It could be in your head.
Hmm.
A lot of us deal with this shit on the
Yeah.
daily. And so
Yeah.
that's the main premise of Levels in itself, is that there's different levels to it. There's so
Hmm.
many different levels to mental health issues.
Yeah.
So as far as pertaining to the rest of the album, though, a lot of the songs do talk about that. And some of the songs, we have a few songs that are about a girl, about a relationship, but majority wise, it's also the you looking from the outside of the perspective of like, what did I do wrong? It's not so much
Hmm.
about what they did, it's about what did you do wrong.
Yeah. And
So
I feel like when it comes to depression, I feel like depression is the most common mental health issue that a lot of us have. Bipolar is another one. But when
mhm,
it comes to depression, it's such a common issue, but there's so many unknowns because people like us that have it and deal with it, it's really hard to explain to your loved ones or your significant other, girlfriend, wife, husband, boyfriend, what it's like to really deal with that and how it is to really come out of it. It's like, but you can't put it into words. So songs like this that deal with that, I feel like are very important right now because it's
yeah.
such a big issue. People that don't normally have depression are experiencing it right now. And so the more songs we have that talk about it and go in depth into it in detail with it, are so good right now because nobody that doesn't have it understands what it's like to have it. Some people think they do, but they don't. They don't think they do, but they do. I mean, it's so
Yeah.
big.
And honestly, like I'm a believer of everybody is slightly different. Like there is like your worst is your worst. So my level of it could be way worse than your level of it, or your level could be way worse than my level. But like what I've experienced is terrible. It's dreadful, you know? So that's why a song like Not Dead Yet, it's like, how do you say that to somebody? It's like, yeah, so today I didn't kill myself.
Right.
Like, it's just such like, it's a
Right.
weird conversation. So like, that's why for me, singing about it, putting it into a song is the therapy that I need.
Yeah. Headspace is another one that really talks about that I feel like is, if you don't know how to explain it, the lyrics in that song really explain the battle that goes on inside your head when you're in the middle of a depression battle or a bipolar battle, or just
Mhm.
not having, it's just not your day. Because I don't know about you, when I'm dealing with it, I may wake up and I'm just not there. But halfway through the day, I can snap out of it, just out of nowhere. But sometimes it lasts for days at a time. But Headspace is another one that really perfectly describes that battle. But every song
Yeah.
also has a different sound than every other song so far. None of the songs you've released sound alike, which is really cool.
And that's something we wanted to do. We wanted to diversify it a little bit. I mean, like really quick, back on a Headspace though,
Yeah.
like the Headspace video was all about the anxiety of almost like not being in reality.
Yeah.
You know, the reality of the entire song was at the end connecting with the band. Like that it was reality, but everything else, like I die in every single room in that video. And it's like it's not real, it's not reality. And that's what it's like really meant to represent. It's like struggling with the concept of reality yourself, leading you into this almost rabbit hole,
hmm
trying to pull yourself out of it.
How important are the visuals? Because these songs are so deep. And music videos are always important when it comes to songs, but how important is it to put a visual explanation and story to match these songs?
Um, it's only as important as the budget that we have to do it. That's honestly the real answer. I would love
That's
to
fair.
do something cinematic for all of them. I would love to make a
Yeah.
grand movie if I could. I don't have the resources for that,
Right.
not yet at least. But I don't think it's as important as the song is. I think the most important thing is the song and the performance of the song on the record. Visuals for me really come second to the music.
Gotcha. That
Mhm.
makes sense. Talk a little bit about Poor Stacy. Where did you guys get connected with him? And he adds such a different element to that song.
Okay, well, Poor Stacy. I used to own a studio called Aflex Studios. We're no longer in business anymore. It was a video and an audio studio, so that's why we were able to do all the music videos and all the recordings,
Okay.
all in one place. And Stacy was one of our clients, and at the time he went by Lido, Lido Santana or something like that. And so he would come in all the time, and he was just a normal rapper, you know, doing the same thing that everybody else is. And one day I was just hanging out in the studio, and one of my interns at the time was like got to know him a little bit, and he was like just tracking him, and I heard him singing, and it sounded really good. And I was like, "What the fuck is this? What's going on?" So I go in the studio. It was in our studio A at the time, and I'm like, "Yo, this is dope." And he's like, "Oh, sick. Can you help me out with this?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." So I started helping them make this record that they're working on, and then after that, I was like, "Hey, would you want to take a crack?" And this is before he was even known as Poor Stacy. I was like, "Would you want to take a crack at one of our songs called Headspace?" He's like, "Dude, I fucking love to." Now, this guy comes from a rock background.
Oh,
This guy
nice.
knows a bunch of rock music. Like he knows more rock music than I know, to be completely honest with you.
Wow.
Yeah, like a true rock fan.
Nice.
Um, and it translates in what he's doing with his music now. Like he's working with Travis Barker these days.
Ooh.
Yeah, I can touch on that if you want me to too. It's a cool
Yeah.
story, his story. But so he did it. He did this thing, and he was a nobody. But like his performance on it was so good. I didn't even track the performance. One of my engineers did at the studio. I showed my band. Everyone's like, "This is so sick." And then you get the other people's opinions involved. You get the management. Well, this guy doesn't really have a name, so on and so forth. And
Right.
we want somebody. We want to see if we can get somebody with a name. There's a couple other people that like tried out like for the feature of Headspace, and they just didn't hold a candle to Poor Stacy, like
Right.
not even close. And the whole time I was like, I don't care. We can be the people that launched this guy.
Yeah.
Lo and behold, he didn't need our fucking help. I promise you that. But I was like, he is doing like it just sounds so amazing. I don't want anybody else. So, it was a constant fight. And then, the band eventually comes around. They're like, you know what? Yeah, Brian's right. Like he is amazing. He is perfect for this part. We've heard the other versions of this song and they are nothing to this.
Right.
And so I remember telling Stacy, I was like, yo, you got the part. And he was so thankful. He loved that he got it. And then this was like 2 years ago too.
Wow.
Yeah. So the song is pretty old. So I let him know and he's like, thank you so much. Then he goes to LA. He signs with Internet Money with Nick Mira and Taz Taylor and them. He gets out of that. Then he signs with 10K, who I don't know if you know who 10K is, but it's owned by Elliot Grange, who is Lucien Grange's son, the owner of Universal Music Group.
Oh, shoot. Okay.
Yeah. So then he starts releasing music through 10K. And then now he's working on music with Travis Barker. And I still work with him to this day. I'm his engineer,
Nice.
his personal engineer. So he always just comes over to my place and we just record music.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So he's had an interesting story, but like, yeah. So he blew up over time. And so by the time we finally released Headspace, he's already big. So I mean, he's almost got like 1 million monthly listeners on Spotify now. So
that's awesome. It reminds me of like I'm a big wrestling fan, and it drives me crazy when like WWE is constantly bringing back and relying on like their past stars and guys that are already big and not growing new stars and new talent, and they're always relying on the big names. It's like that's good, but you have to get new names and get names big that nobody's heard of. Otherwise, there's no future whatsoever.
Completely agree.
I mean, it drives me crazy. And Stacy he adds such a unique element to that song. I agree. I don't think that song would be as good. It would still be good, but not as good if you didn't have his element to that song.
100%. Yeah. I completely agree.
Yeah. Octane, man. Octane has been huge for you guys. That's where I discovered you guys a few months ago. Back when the pandemic first hit. I think Her Eyes was the first song I heard from you guys. Yeah. I mean, in a digital world with rock radio, traditional FM radio, rock radio not being as prevalent, how big is something like Octane and iHeart Radio for you guys? I don't feel like you guys would be at the level you are right now if it weren't for stuff like that.
Yeah, you know what? I completely agree. When it first all happened, I didn't realize. Reggie, where are you from?
Indianapolis.
You live in Indianapolis, that's right. So I didn't really realize how powerful radio was, because we're in South Florida. It's like
okay.
It's like a completely fucking different world out here. Nobody talks about radio. Nobody listens to really Octane. We just do Spotify and Apple Music. And so for me, I didn't realize that I was going to be that big of a deal. But we had management telling us we need to do this. We had our label saying we're pushing this on Octane. And it's like, okay, well, let's see what happens. Then we go on tour and all these people are coming out. They're like, I heard you on Octane. I heard you on Octane. I heard you on Octane. I'm like, well, I did not know. So, now I listen to Octane.
Yeah.
But like at the time I didn't, because I didn't realize how massive that world actually is. Yeah. And Octane is like what, the second most played channel on all of Sirius?
Yeah, it's up there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely up there. So it was massive for us to grow as a band, and Her Eyes got so many spins on Octane. It did so well, and like the fans kept asking for it. Yeah. And now it's Headspace. And I don't even know what's on there now. I think it's still Headspace.
Headspace is still going strong. I mean, in Indy, we had a rock radio station for years. And then I think in 2012, I moved back home to Iowa in 2011. We had rock radio here. I moved back 8 months later, and we had no rock radio. They were playing Imagine Dragons and like all of them. I'm like, what happened? And then we had no rock radio for years. So we relied on Octane and Liquid Metal for anything new music, and now we have a rock station again, and it's good. Octane's where we rely on to find the new bands and hear the new songs from the bands we know. And I've discovered so many bands this year because of that, and it's insane. And I didn't know it was that big of a deal until, yeah, I see bands at like festivals and stuff, and oh shoot, that's that band from Octane. They're really big now, you know.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's awesome. Yeah, and it is powerful. I mean, like we still have we are doing a campaign on terrestrial radio, like the AM and FM
Mhm.
channels. Um, it's that's doing well as well. That's for Headspace right now, and so
Okay.
those outlets are good. But
Mhm.
yeah, Octane is a very influential outlet to have, especially in the rock world.
Is it a weird feeling releasing a debut record, obviously with as much buzz as there is, but in a world where you're not playing shows on
Yep,
it? I mean,
it fucking sucks.
there's not many bands I can think of in the last 5 years that have released a debut record that already had a huge amount of buzz and were big before the debut record really releases. I mean, there's like a Storm and I Prevail were, but not a lot of bands have. But how challenging is it right now promoting a record you're coming out with this amount of buzz, but keeping that while you can't play?
It's definitely challenging because there's nothing like playing a show
Yeah.
for your album release.
Yeah.
And that's something that I wanted to do so badly because we got home in March. We got home on March 15th.
Mhm.
We got back to South Florida. We were on tour. And right when we got home, everything,
Yeah.
all
What
hell
the
broke
hell?
loose.
Yeah.
Everything went to hell.
Yeah.
The next day the gyms were closed and I was like, okay, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and so then it's just like, okay, we have these tours. We have Sturgis lined up. We're going to go
Mhm.
play Sturgis and then Rock the Meadow. And then Rockville in Orlando was going to be this September
Yeah.
this year. Or yeah, is it Rockville? Rebel Rock? Whatever.
One of
We
the
had
many
we
Florida
had all
festivals.
these shows lined up, canceled.
Yeah.
Like we didn't think it was going to last this long. I don't want to get into the politics of it because there
Right.
was mistakes.
Yeah. Yeah. We know
But
that. We can agree there. Yeah.
but yeah, it definitely did fuck some things up because playing shows right now with an album release on the way or being on tour right now would be huge for us.
Mhm.
Is it necessary? No, because we also started as an internet band before we went out and touring and stuff like
Sure.
that. So that's our saving grace in this entire thing. But it would be really fucking nice. And I definitely think it would help us out a lot if we were playing shows right now.
Yeah. Are you guys still doing the Sturgis show? Because there's a show out there in Sturgis coming up that I think is still on, but it might not be the one you guys were on.
No, we canceled Sturgis.
Okay.
I think we started a trend at Sturgis because we were the first to cancel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because we were nervous being from Florida with the amount of
Yeah.
people in Florida that have the disease going to Sturgis, possibly transmitting something up there.
Yeah.
We did not want to be a part of it. We wanted to be responsible American citizens.
Yeah.
With all this, and so we were like, okay, we have to back out of Sturgis. And right after we did that, Beartooth dropped. Who was it? Killswitch dropped. Every band dropped off the show. Every band dropped off the show, and we are like, okay. And then same thing with the Rock the Meadow. We were supposed to play with Beartooth,
Right.
and that everyone dropped off that. And so it's really unfortunate. But like what I was hearing from it is that the city of Sturgis said that they're still doing the rally, but there's no shows.
Gotcha.
And also, we were a month out, and they gave us no details on the show, what we need to provide as gear. And so it was kind of like one of those things where it's like they're probably dealing with a lot of shit right now, trying to figure out how to make it even happen.
Yeah.
Like, we're just gonna make it real simple and we're gonna back out of this one, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, you guys just got announced for a festival. It might be a rescheduled festival next year down in Florida. Yeah. Limp Bizkit's on there, Skillet's on it, you guys are on it, and I might have to go to Florida for that show because
you definitely should.
I like is on that. So yeah. What's 2021 looking like? I mean, there's so much uncertainty even with 21 right now, but I feel like if shows happen, it could be the best year ever for everyone because you have all the shows already booked that haven't been announced on top of the shows that have been rescheduled for next year. So it could be a fun year.
Yeah, I think 2021 is going to be the biggest year in music and in entertainment ever.
Yeah.
Like since the dawn of time, since people figured out that they can go to a live show, I think it's going to be the biggest year in rock. I think it's going to be the biggest year in rap. I don't know about pop music. I think they're fine.
Every year's a big pop year. Every
Yeah,
year's
every
big
year.
for them.
But I think it's going to be a massive year for rock music and rock fans because rock fans are angry individuals.
Hmm.
They're, they want to get out there. They want to get out some of their aggression. They're going to
Yep.
go to these shows. They want
Yep.
to go to these shows.
Yep.
And some people just want to go and hear good music live. I mean, like, I want to.
Yeah.
And I've been to 8 billion concerts. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But, and I think it's going to be a really, really massive year. I think it's going to be a massive year for us, too, because we're going to be able to tour off of the album that we've released.
Mm-hmm.
And so I look forward to it.
And it's going to be such an appreciative year for people because we all took concerts. I took concerts for granted because it's always there,
Mm-hmm.
and in our world between media and bands, we have access to more concerts and bands than the average fan might have. And so when you're going to 30 shows a month or 20 shows a month, it's just part of what you do. And then when that's gone, it's like we want it back. So whether it's next year or the year after, God forbid, it's going to be the most appreciative year for fans and bands because we'll be back to what we love.
100%. And I think that the shows are going to be better. From being a frontman's perspective, I think that the crowds are going to be way more like they're going to participate a lot more.
Your job's going to be easy. You're going to be good.
I don't even have to fucking sing anymore. I'm just going to go ahead.
Is sing Headspace. Go.
Yeah, exactly. And I look forward to that. I really, really do. Because, you feed off the crowd and like I want to, if I go to a show, like whoever I go to see, I'm buying everyone's merch, like
right.
I want to contribute. I want to let the people know that I want to see that, hey, as a fan, I'm here for you.
Exactly.
So I think it's going to be a great year.
And fans need to be doing that right now more than ever. When it comes to the masks, buy it directly from the band's website, from them. Don't get it from a third party, whatever. Get it from the band because you guys need our support now more than you ever have. I feel like we can't stress that enough. And when you guys are back on the road, that's when we're really going to need to kick it up. And even if it's just a CD or a bumper sticker or something, buy something at merch. Because
or just listen to the music on Spotify, whatever. If you can't afford something, if you genuinely can, if you're broke like everybody else right now, just go listen to the music on Spotify.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or, I mean, like it's free to listen to, or YouTube, whatever. Just go listen to the music.
Yeah. When I'm at work, I'll just turn on Spotify or something and hit play and just let it loop all the way through all day long. Just let it go. And whether my boss likes it or not, whether my other people, I think I'm the only metalhead and rock person in the office, but they're pretty familiar with Fame on Fire and Outlier and all of you guys right now. And they need it. They don't realize it, but they need it.
It's
good for them.
Yeah, it is. Soul music.
Exactly. Man, Bryan, thank you so much for talking to me today. This has been amazing. I love the songs. Cannot wait for September 4th. It can't come soon enough. Levels out September 4th. Everybody check it out. It's going to be good, man. It's just getting started. We will see you on the road in 2021.
Sounds good to me, Reggie. Thank you so much.
Definitely, man. Stay safe, and we'll see you soon.